Good evening, folks. This is Longshot here with another statue review. Today we're going to do a very overdue statue room review. Thanks to Alex from Raddtitan today for taking his time to see my collection, which I'm sure, like most of our collectors out here, has put us into debt. Wherever we're going to start over past the gym equipment, over here to the first display case I have. I have other stuff like kind of rummaged through the entire room. Like these are cells right here from the 1994, I believe, Spider-Man cartoon, the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. I have some other ones behind here, just kind of randomly jarbled with Venom and Dr. Octopus. I like to start off with the top over here. There you have the over here we have the newer Collectible Kia Black Panther statue, and I have him displayed next to Thanos also by Collectible Kia. These pieces I think are Collectible Kia, as I've said in my previous reviews before, has been very underappreciated. I think that, you know, the fit and finish and quality overall of these pieces is especially for the price point, is excellent. You know, this is in the mid-2s, and so is he. And they got the detail emphasized. You know, you got all the infinity stones there. You know, the face sculpt is really good on this. You know, and like the base, you know, it's a good heavy statue. It weighs about 5 pounds. You know, it's good for blunt force trauma in case somebody tries to break into the house, you know. But that could be said about a lot of pieces. So that's over here. Now over here is from DC Direct. This is the half-scale Joker statue bust. And I actually was thinking about selling him at one point or another, but then when I took a look at it, I did find a buyer for it, I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't sell it, because this is a real velour costume to the touch. This is sculpted. You know, it's got the nice mixed media. Now with all the statues that they're coming out with, you know, they don't even really have too much mixed media anymore. It's pretty much all sculpt, which is good for cleaning purposes, but not for getting that texture or that depth look, you know, really make the piece pop. Over here we have the green Envy version of the Poison Ivy. And what I like about this piece that really got me to get this piece is the corpse flowers over here at the end. And if anybody knows anything about corpse flowers, they have a wonderful, wonderful scent when they are in full bloom, which smells like rotting flesh. So it's always good, you know, especially in the morning. This is probably my favorite female piece in my entire collection. This is by Pop Culture Shock. This is the Kabuki by David Mack. And here I made some custom touches. This piece over here, she's supposed to be holding her mask. I made a custom shuriken with her initials on it. That I took a while to do, but you know, her piece, you know, this piece is really nice. It's got, you know, the thickness in her legs, you know, her face over here, that her calm, cool, collective look right on her face really brings out this piece like she's really ready for action. It's definitely my favorite female piece, probably because she's got thick, delicious legs, and if I bumped into a woman that actually existed that looked like this, she'd be having all my children. But anyway, over here you have the Mystique premium format exclusive. What made it exclusive is this stupid thing. It actually, I don't even think it's metal. It's really, you know, Sideshow has a wonderful habit of making really cheesy exclusives. We'll get to that when we talk about the Punisher premium format statue. Here is the Baroness Crimson Strike version. Again, I bought this exclusively for the fact that, you know, she'd probably make one of the hottest wives. And there's only an edition size of 200 of her. So when I picked her up. You know, I had to get it, you know, before they sold out, because Sideshow sold out of this thing, I think, within not even one day. it was already sold out by the time I clicked on it and I refreshed the screen. It was gone. Over here we have the Scar premium format statue. This is not the exclusive. The exclusive has a switch out hand with an axe, and then the sword would be put over into here. But that's not This is the regular version. I picked this up when I found out I was having my boy, because he's the son of the Incredible Hulk, and that's why I have him displayed next to the exclusive Comiquette Hulk, which is, you could tell what I look like when I don't cut my hair.
This is one of the pieces that Gio regrets selling.
Yeah, I remember he had it. I saw it in his display. He had it displayed by himself.
Yeah.
In that one case. I remember seeing that. And this, again, I picked up when they were selling, and it sold out very quickly. You know, at one point I had all three versions of this, the red, the gray, and the green. The red one really didn't, out of the three, was like the one that really didn't belong. So I just got rid of that. I sold that.
Funny enough, I think the red one had the highest edition size.
Yes, 1750. It was 1750. It was the biggest edition size. This is 500, and the other one, the green one, is 1,000. And so over here, we got that case covered, and then we have my favorite duo over here, which you'll see painstakingly throughout this statue room review, is the Red Skull and Captain America. And I've always loved these two guys, you know, fighting each other throughout history. You know, he's one of the oldest characters. Should have did a little bit more dusting before this review.
Someone with OCD, you've done shit.
Yeah, I know.
Job of dusting.
Exactly. I usually go over it. Now that this bright fluorescent light is shining on these pieces, now I'm noticing everything.
It's very unforgiving.
Yes, it is. Just thank you for that. This piece is, again, both of these pieces, I really like the detail in the face. You know, you can see the texture of the skin. And I reviewed this a long time ago, and my critique of this thing was that, here you go, these eyes look, you know, painted on. You know, they look a lot more detailed than this. You could obviously tell that this was just kind of like silk screened on. It's just like almost like a sticker.
Yeah, a big decal, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't, when you compare it to the teeth, the nose, and the rest of the sculpt, I think the eyes take away. If it were hand painted, I believe that this face would be a lot better and really make it pop. You know what I mean?
I can see when you see it from a distance, it does look really good, really nice. But then when you get close, yeah, you can sort of see it. Yeah.
It goes to shit. Like here, you have, when you get a close up on these eyes, you know, have a little bit more texture and a little bit more depth to them. So, you know, if I had to keep, well, I'm going to keep both. But if, you know, somebody at gunpoint, I'd probably keep this one and probably get rid of that, just because of that reason. That, you know, Sideshow did yet another shortcut. So, and over here we have this is the Daredevil premium format statue, the more recent one. They have another one coming out, right? From Sideshow or X?
Sideshow have another one, yeah.
Yeah, because
it's Daniel Bell sculpted one, yeah.
I need to take a look at that one. You know, another thing Sideshow just constantly does is they keep remaking the same characters. I really wish they would think outside of the box and put a little bit more.
We just saw that with the New York Comic Con stuff they've just shown. It's pretty much all the same stuff. So it's another Punisher, another Spider-Man. You know, they just characters get regurgitated pretty much. But the new Punisher does look really nice. Yeah,
you know, you showed me. He does look grimy, like I think Punisher should be. This, for some reason, I did like this polished version of the Punisher. But now that I saw that new one that came out with, he just kind of looks like he looks more rough and tough, and I do appreciate that. You know, I always try to keep the rivals together. You know, Daredevil and Punisher. You know, Captain America, Red Skull. These were just hot chicks, just put together.
You're not tempted to buy something like the XM Kingpin then?
I mean, I would definitely like to get my hands on one because there's no other real Kingpin. Bowen made a Kingpin like this, and it's only like maybe like this big, and it didn't wow me. I do like the XM Kingpin, but I haven't been able to get it at the price that I really, you know, what does he go for, like $700-800, something like that?
Yeah, maybe.
If I can get
if you're patient, you'll see him
dip down.
Yeah.
I have nothing but time. Over here, we have a mishmash of characters, mainly X-Men characters. We have the original Wolverine premium format. And over here, I always feel like some of these pieces are very underappreciated. And when they're underappreciated, they go for sale for dirt cheap, which I'm perfectly fine with diming in and sweeping down, you know, striking while the iron is hot. This piece right over here, this is the Rogue Comiquette. And as I stated in my review of this, it really shows who she is as a character. She's taking the gloves off, and she's just casually walking through a concrete wall without even trying. And she's smiling, of all things. So who knows who she's really smiling at, if she's flirting with somebody or if she's, about to touch somebody and kill them.
But that's the thing, she is a huge flirt, isn't she? So
yeah, she is. She's from the South, so she's got that Southern charm. And, of course, behind her we have her mom, or her adopted mother, which is the Mystique comiquette. I don't know if you could see that back there. And then, so that's why I kept them together. And this, unlike the rest of my display, this is probably the only display where I have them all together for saving of space and sanity purposes, because all their bases are really small. Behind Wolverine, which has the original pajama cloth, which is notorious for pilling, which is why I'm fearful of touching it. You have the comiquette of the Black Cat, which I prefer over the premium format, only because here she's showing what she does normally, and that's stealing shit. So she's coming down from the ventilation gate, crate, or whatever they call it, and so she's coming down, and I really like that about that piece. And of course you have the original She-Hulk comiquette, which I prefer because she's busting out of her clothes. Everything's getting fluffier as she's turning into the She-Hulk. This is like mid-transformation. She's dropped her briefcase. She's in it totally, like, really, like, and because everything's coming out. And this piece, I forgot which the artist did all of these.
Adam Hughes?
Yes, Adam Hughes. These are all Adam Hughes pieces, with the exception of Wolverine, who's in there. He's just in there because, well, I have nowhere else to put him.
Yeah, don't put him outside.
No, I'm going to leave him in.
As soon as that gets dusty, it's fucked.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I keep everything in the case for those purposes.
Especially like Thing.
Oh, yeah, he's probably really dusty up. No, he's good. He's good.
Oh, he looks dusty on the camera.
That's because I think the paint might be a little faded from the person that I bought this from.
Stop touching the mic.
Oh, sorry. Whoops, I don't even want to know what that sounds like.
Yeah, I could hear it right away.
This is the Thing life-size bust. This is the other. I don't have any other life-size busts except for these three. These are my three life-size busts. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge fan of the Thing.
I absolutely hate the Thing more than anything else.
Yes, as a disclaimer, Alex is not. I am a huge fan of the Thing. He is totally not. Mainly because the Thing could go toe-to-toe with the Hulk.
No, you'd be fucked.
I mean, at first he does a decent job. Then,
Yeah, then the Hulk's going to fucking destroy him. One of my favourite things is when... actually, I think he does pretty well against the Surfer, doesn't he? But that's because the Surfer's a bit like, hey, man, what are you doing? Chill out or something.
Yeah, he doesn't want...
Yeah.
He didn't want to fight him, actually, at first. At least if I remember the comics correctly.
Fantastic 455.
Right. So over here we have, now we've all had the premium format Batman. I happily, after a while, got rid of mine from its horrible construction critique that I have with it, along with the size of the box could house a family of children. I mean, a group of children. It's humongous, obnoxious box of that sculpted cape. So I got rid of that, and I got this. And this piece, this is the Michael Keaton Batman. Growing up as a kid, I knew this Batman before I knew any other Batman from 1989. That's the first movie I saw with Batman. I'm like, ooh, Batman. And then after seeing the movie, I got into the comics with Batman. And,
If I actually recall, someone posted this and I contacted you straight away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That was the guy, he's from South Jersey, exit 36. Yeah. I remember because I drove down there to go get this.
Yeah, no, I saw it was local. I knew you were looking. So.
Oh, yeah. The face sculpt on this really looks exactly like the movie. They didn't shortchange it at all. Even the staircase to the Batcave. Which is the one that comes from the ground? The stalactites or mites? The one that comes from the ground up.
Tights, I think.
Stalactites, mites. I forgot which one comes from the ground up, but he shows that in here. This is the Batarang, the original Batarang. This is the exclusive. What I love about it is, like, I have the cape. If you put the cape the way that the cape normally flows, you would never see the exclusive. So to have an exclusive is, retarded. But that's why I put the cape folded backwards, so it actually shows the kid.
I'd tuck it in his hand. you know the other side?
What do you have?
Yeah, I have it kind of in his hand.
He's got nothing in his hand.
No, I have the cape in his hand.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of like flicking his cape around.
Yeah, no, I never thought about that like that.
Also, the thing is I was quite surprised about is they managed to keep, I don't know if you can see it, I know it's on the outside, they've got Nike ticks on them still.
The what?
The boots are made by Nike.
Oh, sure, okay.
Nike, you've got it in American only, but you can actually see the Nike ticks on them.
Can I put the light on there?
On the outside of the boot. So you're going to have to go around there. Is it?
Barely. Okay. There we go. Okay, yeah, now I do see it now.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out to me. See, when you have a good detailed collectible, you never know what you're going to notice.
I know this because a friend of mine is like a huge Batman fan and he works in costume and things, and he told me, he goes, you know, they're Nike. So I was like, no, you showed me in the video.
Well, I wouldn't have noticed that either unless you pointed it out to me. And below Batman is Catwoman. Now, I had both versions of this at one point. I had the Purple Classic, which I appreciated because you get to see all the sculpted butt cheeks, which Alex pointed out in his review of this piece. But overall, I think that the black costume, along with this actually could look like the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. You know, if she had it's the Sideshow Catwoman, but the costume is more similar to the movie, and I didn't feel like getting the Michelle Pfeiffer version because I already had this, so I figured, well, this probably goes better with this definitely better than the purple one. But so that's why they made like 4,000 of this one too, and that's a little steep, not as steep as.
I think the Michelle Pfeiffer one's on my list of ones I want to see.
Oh, it's nice from what I see in the pictures. The scarring of her face, on the mask, I really like that. Over here we have. I used to have the XM She-Hulk, but the box of that, and for storage purposes, it's too big. This is the XM Ant-Man.
Just turn it off for a second. Load of glare.
This piece over. Let me take it out. This piece. I just love it in so many ways because it could be displayed by itself as the 19-inch Ant-Man behind it, and you could have this whole display with him riding Anthony and all the other ants coming along in line. So that's how you could display this any way that you want. They move around, so you could have the display any which way you want. If you wanted to have them come up the stairs, if you wanted to have up this piece over here of debris and have them come out, you could have them displayed any which way that you want. You could.
It was like in the XM office, they used to just have these like ants like randomly on other statues all over the place. Yeah,
that's funny. In the detail of each ant, even the thorax it's clear. I thought that was a nice touch too. The back of it, of the each ant. There's just a lot of detail in the ant, and of course XM quality is second to none. And the way that they pack stuff is just amazing. Trying to unpack it, it's like trying to crack a safe. But that's what I'm never going to get rid of this piece because this piece, like I said, has so many displaying options. You could display it separately. I have it displayed together, because I just kind of like the bigger one in the background. Kind of gives that collage look. And then, of course, he's riding Anthony, commanding the rest of the ants into battle. Below him, so this is my only XM piece. I love this piece to death.
Anything else you'd like to get from XM?
I would like to get that XM Kingpin. And I would like to have that displayed in the most uncomfortable place in my house, my bedroom, just for entertainment purposes, because I know the lady would just love to have to stare at a big fat bald man playing chess. So she could enjoy that. So yeah, XM's got a lot of pieces. The Dr. Octopus, that was XM. And that piece is amazing. And plus, XM's not afraid to think out of the box. They have all the other different characters, the characters that I wish Sideshow would make. But Sideshow won't do anything until XM does, because XM's their competition, and they're doing quite well at it, actually. Over here, we have the newest Black Cat premium format statue. Again, they don't have... Sideshow has done away with mixed media. There's no mixed media here. This is all sculpt. XM, does XM do any mixed media, or they just do?
No, they've only got media on like if you have some kind of straps or
Okay.
something like that. They won't have media on most other things.
This is strictly like even this piece here. This is a magnet, but it's all sculpted. There's no cloth costume like on the original. On the other Black Cat, where she's leaning up against the.
I really like that one.
That's nice, and the costume's like that nice leather costume. Just it's very made of the same material as the Catwoman over there.
I'm actually really surprised though, because I know you have a lot of the busts upstairs, legendary scale. I'm very surprised you don't have the Black Cat. She's probably one of the best
and the most expensive.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's she's definitely one of the more costly ones. If I can get my hands on it for the right price, I will pick it up, and I totally agree with you on that. That is definitely a nice, especially because the long hair. Over here, this is a painted column where I have 2 painted columns. These columns you could pick up at any craft store. I picked this up at the Christmas tree store, but this has had the chalky feel to it. So the touch of chalk makes my spine cringe. So I decided to spray paint it in a nice gray color. Where I have displayed over here one of, I love Colossus. I had every piece of Colossus, but slowly but surely, because their boxes are obnoxious, I just managed to minimize my collection and just kept the premium format statue of him. I have this is the regular version. It's not the. Yeah, that's right. I'm holding a piece without gloves, guys. Get over it. All right, because I'm not selling this guy. So this is to me, it's the piece to have. I mean, even if I had the exclusive version, I would display this stern look on his face anyway, because just because he's showing his teeth, that's not really in his character. He can do rage, but he's more of like a reserved character, a reserved, strong character. He's not necessarily as rageful. So I kind of like this picture. And if you look closely at the silver, you could see that they used a different color for the eyes. They made him white. The white eyes. I thought that was a really nice touch. With these pieces, when most of the characters are all silver, you really have to take the time to look at the piece instead of just buying it and flipping on eBay like certain people. So over here, we have the art print that goes with the exclusive version of the Nick Fury Comiquette, which dollar for dollar is the best exclusive Sideshow has ever made to date, period. With the amount of switch out heads and the amount of switch out guns and an art print to boot, this is definitely the way to go. And over to the left, we also have the display piece of the Nightcrawler Comiquette exclusive. Now, I don't have the exclusive sword displayed with my Nightcrawler, because basically you breathe on it, it'll fall and you'll break it. And where I have him displayed from a high position, it'll definitely shatter, so I'm not running that risk. But the art print of this is amazing. Another piece that I have displayed, usually my favorite pieces I like to put on columns, because, I put it on a pedestal. All right, you have the...
Don't put pussy on the pedestal.
This one I think I'll put her on a pedestal, because if I don't, she'll probably get pissed at me.
It's like 4-year-old virgin.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. This piece is the regular version of the Storm premium format statue. I love the curvature of the body on this. I love how they sculpted her body. It shows a very feminine, very sexy body. For those of you guys to say that this isn't hot, obviously you're playing for the other team. I like how she's like commanding the elements. She's about to. The exclusive is cool too, because she's in the process of summoning the elements, and they're coming. This is almost like the right before she does it. And then they have the white costume, but I like this black costume with this. The white costume is, if I'm not mistaken, was the one from the X-Men cartoons. She had the white displayed costume. But this one was fine for me. I love the base. If you take a look closer to the base, it's actually probably more detailed than the statue itself, because it's got all the moss and all the flowers.
I think as well. Because whenever you see this, you see it here, so you see it kind of straight on. Or
yes.
You see it like this. You don't really get to see the base on it very much. I never knew there were flowers on there.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it got over here. You have little white flowers on the other side, because it's the top of a mountain, and the hill or wherever she's standing to summon the elements. She's like at that summit, and that's why it kind of peaks this way. And it's got all the moss on it, and then then the flowers grow on. It's a really pretty flower right over there. I don't know if you already got that. So that's why I really appreciate this piece. Why I have this
appearance of Kingpin there.
Yeah, which actually has absolutely nothing to do with the display at all. I usually have stuff displayed, but I didn't find this with with Storm. If I did, I'd probably switch it out because I have this Velcro to the wall, so I could easily switch it out if I decide to. Over here, we have basically a hodgepodge of, actually no, start from the top. Yeah. We have the legendary scale of, in my opinion, the 3 most deadliest villains in the Marvel universe. I mean, there's somebody else that comes to mind.
Not Thanos?
Thanos is definitely up there.
Not Galactus?
Galactus, oh yeah, but he's over there.
Okay, yeah, but you said these 3.
Yeah, well, I like these 3. That's why I have them as far as like, because Galactus is more of just like a guy just kind of doing his thing. His intention isn't to be evil. He just does what he does to survive. So these guys, they're just, filled with hate, resentment, for whatever reason. Apocalypse like to test evolution and limits.
I really don't like that Apocalypse.
Yeah, you said that he has bad gas.
He looks like he's just farted and he's trying to figure out if he shit himself or not.
Yes, yes.
But that Magneto is really nice.
Oh yeah, this half-scale Magneto. I don't think that it's not a better display. Yeah. I've never seen another bust like this.
I don't know if there are any other Magneto busts. I mean, there's no life size, but I don't remember.
I haven't seen any. And all the small ones from Bowen all look like ass compared to this. So these are my these 3 powerhouses of the Marvel universe: Fantastic Four, X-Men, and also X-Men.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the Magneto.
Oh, the Magneto is definitely, and this is the EX, which comes with the redundant nameplate, which I have displayed somewhere else. But yeah, but otherwise, I think it was like 400 him for the regular edition without the nameplate. This is 150. But if you want to get the regular edition, like I said, this face sculpt is just amazing. How he's looking all high and he's like very proud, and I do love the face.
I think someone repainted it with the eyes in.
So they ruined it.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't because he's it shows him doing his mutant power, and he whites out his eyes when that happens. Over here we have, like I said before, a hodgepodge of mixed statues. Over here we have the exclusive modern version of the Daredevil versus Punisher.
Yep. I can't come around too much because that light's on. No, I come around the light.
Oh yeah, no problem. Do what you got to do. This is the Artifacts Carnage. I have everything from Carnage ever made, with the exception of the legendary scale bust, which I can never seem to get. They always it's like oily. It's oily. It slips through my fingers every time I'm trying to make a deal on it. I don't know why. If I was going to get Spider-Man, Venom, or the Carnage legendary scale bust, it'd be the Carnage hands down. Displaying that thing though, because he's looking down, would be a challenge to make it look right. Otherwise, it's just, I'm just going to get it just to get it.
I was saying before that was the classic version of this was my first Sideshow piece.
Of this one.
Yeah.
And you are right to like the classic better because the base has got a lot more detail. The flowing the coat. Daredevil pretty much looks the same, if I remember correctly.
I think Daredevil is the same.
Okay.
My shelf collapsed and broke it.
Oh.
You all right?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't ruin it, did I?
No.
So, and then behind here is the comic book from the actual fight for my birth year of 1982. In case you're wondering where the 1982 came in, I'm sure you guys could put 2 together. Here's the Artifacts Carnage. This piece is really nice, especially for the price point. The base comes on magnets. It just clips right. It's a nice solid magnet too. So, and of course I like the base because it shows the Carnage face. Yeah, exactly. And it's got a felt bottom so it doesn't scratch wherever it's at, or it doesn't ruin the bottom. I have that displayed there. Over here, next to that, is a statue I'm sure most Marvel collectors would have no interest in, but anybody that plays Magic the Gathering would be familiar with this character, and this is the Serra Angel. I guess they're from Dark Horse Collectibles. I think Dark Horse is pretty much gone, right? Or they've been still doing stuff?
I don't know. I mean, I know that I think it's like Bruce Campbell refused to sign any Dark Horse comics.
Why refuse?
They're falling out with them.
Anyway, so next on the next shelf we have over here Bayadro, which is a company from Spain that does hands. These are all hand sculpted and hand painted from Valencia, Spain, and this is my grandmother's heirloom that I got, which actually started me into collecting statues. Obviously, you could see that her taste varied wildly from mine, but you know, I refuse to get rid of, you know, what started it all. You know, can't forget your roots. Next to that is the regular version of the Spider-Man versus Venom diorama.
I love that.
It's a beautiful piece. You know, you'd like this piece a lot better than the exclusive version.
I was been very close to buying the exclusive. Came up on eBay quite cheap, and I thought to myself, I don't like it. And then I think I contacted yourself and said, "Can you switch your heads out?" And you said no, and I was like, "Ah, fuck, I'm not getting it."
Yeah, well, you're right to like this piece better because I think it shows the way that the tongue's coming out. You know, it has a lot more. We'll make fun of the exclusive version in a moment. And then over here is the Kotobukiya Carnage, because it's Carnage, so I don't care who makes it.
Yeah.
I gotta get it. This piece, I love the way that they use like a matted finish on the paint. Maybe I want some. And they use that glossier paint to go over the rest of the symbiote, and I like the way that they mixed it. My problem I have with the base of this piece is historically I think it would be better instead of the Daily Bugle, which is kind of redundant with everything.
Ravenscroft or something.
Say again?
To be like Ravenscroft or something like that on the base.
The base where his I personally would love it if they had the base of the orphanage that he burned down.
Oh, that's too dark.
Yeah, it's too dark, but it would definitely show the character.
Yeah.
Maybe going back, you know, and just that's why. I mean, I understand why they put Daily Bugle, but you know, in my opinion, if you know, I'm a huge Carnage fan.
It's also done too much because Sideshow did Daily Bugle as well. And, you know.
Yeah, they just keep redoing. Over here is the exclusive version of the Spider-Man versus Venom diorama, and as Alex pointed out, it just doesn't have the same effect. You know, you're ripping the symbiote off. I know you're putting a lot more effort into your fight. The sculpt of Eddie Brock is okay in there.
I think it looks too calm. I think he should have been like a bit more like raging.
You know, maybe his mouth could have been open, or like, you know, maybe like he feels like he's more in pain because he is bonded to the symbiote. So now that you point that out, that does make a lot of sense about that piece. But if this is the exclusive, I think there's a 1,200 of the regular, and this is 300 made. But the regular still goes for more money because, well, it's just a better piece. Yeah. You know, like I said, if Sideshow did do a switch out like you wanted, which would be, because, you know, they never do switch out heads, then obviously probably, you know, then you could decide whether or not you would like to display it, you know, which way ever that you like it. But the original version, I agree with you, is probably the better of the two. Over here is also from Dark Horse, we have the Spirit Link, which is an enchantment, and she's a sorceress. This piece is really amazing because the hair, to replicate the hair behind, I don't know if you can get that, behind it's actually like real feathers.
Yeah.
And I think that was a really cool effect to duplicate the style hair that the sorceress had, because she didn't have straight hair. She had like puffy hair and in the picture. And the way that they replicated that was through using feathers. And her face sculpt is really awesome as she's summoning, you know, whatever it is that she's summoning in this pose. But I really like the sculpting of this. Dark Horse is, like I said, it's been falling out, but they really put out some really nice pieces. Below that is the Herloon Minotaur, which is this is number 1 of 5,000.
Wow.
I just got lucky. I don't really care if it's number 5,000 of 5,000, but this piece really looks cool. I love the Minotaur as a mythological creature. I think that the paint application and the texture with the sculpting of the fur of this piece is amazing, and the fact that I picked this up for $75, worth every single penny, hands down. Next to that, we have the Dark Child, which is the sister of Colossus, which I believe it or not, I cannot put the base on top of the Colossus base. I think I did try, but it doesn't flow evenly. This is after she's been condemned to hell. There was another statue, I think, that they made with her with the blonde hair before she changed. Magic. And this is, you know, then the exclusive was her as she's transitioning to hell. And then this is her actually now fully in hell. She looks identical to Tori Spelling.
Sorry, I got to stand up.
Oh no, it's okay. That's why I got this piece, because she looks like Tori Spelling to me, and without her makeup. So Tori Spelling were to reveal herself what she looks like, she'll look like that. So that's this case over here. Next to that, we have another diorama, another duo of, again, Captain America and Red Skull. I'm sure you'll be able to see the trend here. I have these displayed specifically in a way where Red Skull is waiting for somebody to come down the stairs so he can shoot you. And then over here, I have this displayed kind of like he's hiding behind the building, waving the rest of the troops in. So I have them displayed in this way for a very specific purpose. That, and when people walk through.
I do like that with the Red Skull where,
he's waiting. I specifically have it that way for that reason. And then over here, he's waiting behind. And as you see, we have uninvited guests known as my relatives, I'm sure. Over here, we have the whole J. Scott Campbell line of the, we have all of them. We have the Mary Jane, we have the Black Cat, we have the Gwen Stacy, and then we have the Man Spider face custom that I made on the J. Scott Campbell Spider-Man. For those of you who forget what the regular face looks like, this is it. And they switch out. And this, to me, is the proper 1/5 scale compared to the Rhino Comiquette, as far as sizes. But we'll get to that in a moment. Did you get to the Daredevil?
Oh, yeah.
The Daredevil is the original Daredevil Comiquette. It's putting this on this base. I think you have an easier time trying to land a rocket on a Jovian planet. But putting this on this base is very, very difficult, and you have to get it just the right angle. Over here, it comes with different switch-out plates. I think we put Jack Murdock, because that's his father's grave, to show respect. It has the Elektra, and it has a blank one in case you want to put on make like a custom plate of, an ex-wife or whatever. So over here now, moving on from here, we have, this is the Galactus half-scale bust. This bust is, there was a choice between getting this bust and getting the maquette. My friend decided to get the maquette. I decided to get this. He's my best friend. I'm not going to copy his collection. So he's got the other one. I got this. This comes with a really nice piece of where he's staring at the Silver Surfer, where he's kind of looking. I'll show that to you in a minute. This piece weighs a ton. This is 15 pounds easy. Again, good for any type of intruders.
I think that's probably one of the best legendary scale busts for me. If I had to buy a legendary scale bust, it would be that one. Oh,
this, and this is definitely, you're right. This is definitely the one that's got perfect detail on it. The texture of the skin, the gloss of the teeth. I mean, everything on this, and the fact that its integrity is very good. It's you have to go out of your way to break this.
I think you could kind of get away with having that one on display without any others as well, just because of the character.
Yeah, well, he is the devourer of worlds, so he could pretty much eat anything that he, you know what I mean. He to drain the energy of any planet. Let's move over. Keep it to the Marvel section. Over here we have the original Scarlet Witch Comiquette, which she is controlling Vision with a remote control, in a very similar fashion as the way women manipulate men, which is why I love this piece over the premium format statue of this, because of the manipulation of Vision and how it's symbolic to every married person on the face of the planet. Over here we have the original. This is the exclusive version of the Nick Fury Comiquette. Nick Fury came out in, his first appearance was in the Howling Commandos, #1 from 1963, I believe, or 61. This is Sideshow's best exclusive ever. It has 2 guns. It has this gun and a gun, and an equal gun that looks just like this. Then we have this big blaster, and then he's also got a big Magnum gun you could switch out. Plus, you have 2 heads. You have one with him smoking a cigar, which I have displayed here, and then we have one where he just looks like he's constipated. But he has totally the more switch out options here than ever. And if you see the base has got the Shield logo on it, which I really think is a cool, really cool base. And like I said, for the price that he originally cost, which is, you know, I got cost for this guy, it was definitely worth every penny also. Next to that, we have the Beast exclusive comiquette. This weighs a lot also. It's a very sturdy piece. I love the detail in the books. They're not just books, they're actually, you can see what he's reading. He's an intellectual. We all know he's got that nice mix of strength and intellect, making him a very formidable adversary and a very useful member of the X-Men. The exclusive part is him holding this book. And of course, that wonderful disgusted look that he has looking over to the side like he's being interrupted while he's reading. I very much enjoy that. Let me get this God statue out of the way for a moment. The display, again, this is the Nightcrawler comiquette with the Iceman comiquette, and I have them both facing in that direction, kind of like looking onto oncoming trouble, and they're like coming together. He just poofed back into position, and he's sliding into position to look at the enemy. And that's why I have them displayed in that fashion. This is the crowning jewel right here. This is the talking Chuck Norris bobblehead. This piece will never comes out of this box. And I have them displayed there to protect these, because these are actually very delicate pieces, so I need to have them enforced. Going down, we also have the premium format Vision. This is the regular edition of this Vision, because I think the exclusive version of the Vision is something that a kid could do. It just looked really stupid. I had absolutely no liking for it at all. Should I open up the case? Prevent the glare. This piece, the metallic paint and the flowing of the cape, you can. It's got the wire in it, so you can mold the cape any which way you want.
Cape is huge.
It's obnoxiously huge. But the box of this piece, because the base is the size of a postage stamp, is actually very small. So it's great for storage if, you know, for those pieces that are really hard to find storage for. This is not one of those pieces you're going to have problems with. It's a very small box. It could easily fit in here because this rolls up onto a roll, and then you just put it away. But underneath the Vision, I love this Vision. This piece I got from Hero Statue Collector Lou, God rest his soul. Once, you know, anytime, and same thing with Victor, anytime I get a piece from either of those two close friends of mine, they become permanent additions to my collection. These pieces will never go. Down below the Vision is the original premium format Spider-Man. What sets this apart from the other 100,000 statues of Spider-Man that Sideshow has done, this is still mixed media, unlike what they've been doing. This is cloth. This is actual cloth, which I won't touch too much because I don't want to get any stains on it. My hands are clean, though. The texture of the webbing on the costume is what makes the difference with this piece, because they took it, it's lifted, it's elevated, it's not just put in, it's not recessed. In the premium, in the Spider-Man comiquette, in the premium formats, they're recessed into the costume. This, they're actually protruding outwards. And I think that's a great touch to really show, it gives such a more dramatic effect to this piece. Like he's on top of a building and he's ready to jump off. Like he's mostly Sideshow does, I think, in every display of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then below this Spider-Man is the original comiquette, which is supposed to be 1/5 scale, but as Sideshow during their period of time of not getting any scale done correctly.
It's supposed to be 1/4.
It's supposed to be 1/4?
Yeah.
Because
it's supposed to be 1/4, but people say it looks 1/5. But we actually pulled the tape measure, like a flexible tape measure, and measured it. And if he was standing, he would be 23 inches. So it probably is right, but it's just some of the limbs just look a bit. Because
of his crouched position. Yeah. Did you get a close-up of that wonderful teeth?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we reviewed this thing. And,
1,000 times, I'm sure.
I got this piece and this piece, and I sold them.
You sold them both?
And that, actually. That whole D-top has been sold, yeah.
Yeah, I can't sell these. I love these pieces too much. Plus, I got this without the box, so okay. I'll never get rid of that.
Still be able to sell it?
I'm sure I'll still be able to sell. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Especially, so everything in this D-top is pretty much locked in stone. Next to that, we have over here the original Sideshow diorama of the Fantastic Four. Now this piece of the Silver Surfer is what goes with the Galactus. So you can see it to scale that Silver Surfer is an ant compared to the power of Galactus. And Galactus is probably, he's about 2 stories high in the comic books approximately. That's right, you can manipulate his size, very similar to Apocalypse. That's true. Don't ask me why I have the Thor frog here. I just like the Thor frog. I had absolutely...
Actually, again, so we were talking about this earlier, but I'm not a fan of Fantastic Four too much, but I do actually like that diorama. And, I mean, look at her. Sorry, I'm just looking at her arse there. Nice. But also, I mean, you do get the exclusive, which is the Invisible Woman.
Right, which is clear.
Yeah.
The clear resin. I mean, and that does show a great effect. I do not have the exclusive version of that. I do like that effect in this diorama, though. And then next to that, like I said, is the Thor frog in here, which I just think I just got it because it was just a cool piece. I'm not really a big Thor fan, but I just like that frog. It looks like a green tree frog, if you guys actually know the species.
It's named after the artist, isn't it? It's like a very similar name to Walt Samuelson.
Yeah.
His name is a frog. I can't remember what his name.
I just think this is such a cool piece, though, because this is actually a green tree frog, which is different from a leopard frog or a Pac-Man toad, Pac-Man frog rather. This is I actually could identify this piece because I used to have one. And then you got the Silver Surfer behind. Now over here is the Kotobukiya Magneto, which, as I told Alex before, is pretty much the best display of Magneto, period. Knowing his character, the metal floating around him as he's summoning his powers, the base of it from Xavier's school, how it shows, over here that he's just ruined the school and he's attacking the school. It's also from an iconic Magneto cover of where he's in front of, I think he was in front of in the solar system. He was like, there's planets behind him. It was a really cool display. But when Kotobukiya released this was a no-brainer for me because, like I said, this shows Magneto in all his rage and all his power and everything that he's capable of, displayed perfectly. Below that, we have 2 more Kotobukiya pieces. The brown costume from the Sentinel fight. We have the brown costume Wolverine and...
Danger Room.
Danger Room, thank you very much. And I think the Magneto's from the Danger Room as well, if I remember correctly.
It's from the same series.
Yeah, they came out around the same time. And then next to that we have the Rogue, and I have this face sculpt because this is just the only face sculpt. It comes with 2 face sculpts, but the other face sculpt looks like a Maury Povich guest, so definitely not something I really want to have displayed on a statue that I own. And that's, but they look great together. Fortunately they could both fit on the same shelf. Below that, I have another art print. I love collecting these art prints. These are the cells prints. Is the the Juggernaut, also from the is this also from the Danger Room?
It's a Koto one, but I think only the Danger Room ones are the actual X-Men.
Okay, yeah. with the pieces of the Sentinel being destroyed, which I think is cool how they all go together. But that piece is I love all these Kotobukiya statues. Some people only collect 1/4 scale. I just get what I like, so. If I like it, I'll buy it, despite the scale. Because most of the dioramas, I believe, are 1/6 scale. Yeah. And also have a lot going on, which I think is really cool.
I think they're smaller. I think they might be like 1/7 or something.
Well, definitely the Sabretooth versus Wolverine. Now over here, we're kind of deviating away from the Marvel a little bit. We have the Pop Culture Shot Cammy. This is the new version. I also have the original version of this, but this is a lot more action on it. Of course, if Alex would zoom in onto the delectable muscular thighs of the chick, this really shows her coming. She's coming down on the scene, ready to fight M. Bison, whoever she's causing trouble.
Well, they actually changed the pose of this because originally she looked like she was like slipping on a banana skin.
Yeah.
And they tweaked it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's why she was in shock. She didn't want to hurt herself. Next to that, I have her.
Joker, while you're there.
Oh yeah, well of course, I'm sorry because she's next to Chung-Li. Below that, I have the original. This is DC Sideshow's first DC piece.
And the best.
And yes.
I actually cited Lobo, but one of the best.
This is definitely just like Marvel. Their first premium format was the Doctor Doom on Throne. Sideshow, maybe they're trying to say something where they come out with the villains first. I mean, I'm just saying. But the first piece that they come out with from the DC line, once they had the DC license, was the Joker, and they hit it out of the park. They really did. If you go close up of his face, I'm sure this has been reviewed ad nauseum over the internet.
I think we reviewed it twice.
Yeah, it's just a crazy piece. That face sculpt, the exclusive face sculpt is cool, but I just like this one better. I just
never taken it out of the box.
Nice. At least you know it's in mint condition.
Yeah.
Now, next to Cammy, I have displayed. I have displayed from Hollywood Collectibles. This is one of those just random pieces put in here. Is the sculpted. This is Chung-Li. Again, you bump into somebody that looks like this on the street, you marry them immediately. But
is that part of their Marvel vs. Capcom?
Yes. That's why the bases are not the pop culture shock bases, as the big round circles that you're familiar with. Or now what they do is they do these different types of action-packed poses, which is really cool. I like them both the same. This piece, I just like the way the sculpt of the costume is kind of floating in the wind. I like how they match the behind her little poofy things, whatever they're called. How everything's sculpted. They get to the wind's coming from this angle, and they made her costume flow that way. And of course, just the character. I'm a big, huge Chung-Li fan of her. I also have the Pop Culture Shock, the other one with the googly backwards eyes. I have that one. I like this one better. So I have both, but I have this one displayed. And below this is the original Red Sonja. Now, they have 3 versions of Red Sonja. Everybody has their own opinions on which is the best display of Red Sonja. Obviously, you know what my favorite is because I have it here. The other 2 are good. They're very nice. I've seen some reviews on them. They're actually quite nice, but I don't think anything measures up to me because of the decapitated frost giant. I mean, that face just screams out Red Sonja. Shit, I just think the thing's really cool. So that's definitely the Red Sonja for me. Now moving over to the left here, we have some more statues. We have the brand new Carnage premium format statue. As I said in my review, there's a few problems I have with this. The fact that it's a little unbalanced being one of them. The fact that putting this part of the symbiote costume, the assembly is very nerving, that you don't want to, get a lot of anxiety because you don't want to break anything because it's a very, very tight fit and you can just feel like it's going to snap in your hands. But, I was lucky enough not to ruin anything. But this piece, I like how the costume is. You got a little bit, it's not like the Kotobukiya. This is all kind of like a sheen to it. But this is the black's extra glossy, and this shows Cletus Cassidy in his most rageful form of him actually going out and attacking. The original comic of the Carnage I also have as well, and that shows him in his madness as well, but I think this is more like lunging at you. It's more like the whole statue's moving forward. If you look at it from this angle, he's coming forward. Did a lot of people review these?
Yeah, we got one. So, I got one, and I reviewed it.
I just love how he's just moving forward.
I actually picked it up at a Comic-Con where the company were displaying it from Sideshow, and I asked them, I played dumb and said to them, "Hey, is that for sale?" And they said, "Well, no, not really." And they made them an offer and they sold it to me for very
nice.
cheap.
That's it. You got to strike while the iron's hot. So you were thinking that time, and you're happy with the piece.
Sold it.
Okay.
It was too wobbly.
Yeah, like I told you before, there's not too many people that come around here.
Yeah, mine bothered me too much. I was like, that's gonna fall, and I sold it.
You just feel it breaking. But we do have a special guest here today in the long shot household. Somebody actually personally can come in here and film and everybody else. We all have the same obsession. So over here is the brown costume exclusive version of the Wolverine also from Sideshow Collectibles. Has the same base as the companion piece to this, which I used to have. I sold it to a nice guy locally that has the same base. What makes this exclusive is the red sword. I know it's being red has some sort of symbolism. It's like a special sword. I just like to think it's dipped in blood. So I swear.
Well, George told me the story.
Yeah, no, I know there is a story behind that sword.
It's apparently like it's got his blood in there.
Okay.
It's like the only sword that can kill him.
Okay. So, but he has in his hand.
Mayo Masher blade or something. Mayo Masher something.
It's a great piece. It's a great exclusive. It's a nice touch. My favorite touch of this is the fact that he's got all these arrows.
Yeah.
All over the base that either the people are really bad aimers or that he hit them and he healed through it. Next to that is a lot of people's Grail. They consider this a Grail piece. This is the original Spider-Man comiquette from Sideshow. This has been reviewed ad nauseum, also over the internet. I have mine reviewed as well. It's a nice piece. It's a beautiful piece. Now, when they sold it next to the piece next to it, the original Rhino comiquette, as you can see, this is where the scale starts to piss me off because the Rhino is better scale, as I said in my review of him, of the J. Scott Campbell Spider-Man. That size difference shows because the Rhino is a Goliath compared to Spider-Man. Rhino can use Spider-Man as a back scratcher in the comic books. He's a huge character. Okay, here he is more brawny, but it's just not the scale. It's not. It just doesn't go together. This is supposed to be a companion piece. I have it displayed for space purposes, but the real piece that should go next to this is J. Scott Campbell Spider-Man. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I agree in the scale size, but I just think that with that Spider-Man, when you put that next to the J. Scott Campbell Spider-Man, you compare them, there's no comparison. That comiquette is one of my favourite Spider-Man. It is my favourite Spider-Man piece, but it's one of my favourite pieces in my collection.
Yeah,
I love it.
You have one.
I love it. Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, and it's definitely not for sale.
No, it's definitely in my top 5 pieces that I'd keep. And I hadn't seen the Rhino before today, and I really didn't want to like it. I hate it when I see these pieces and I like them because it makes me want to go and buy one. I do really like it.
Well, if it's any consolation to you, this is when Sideshow really started cutting corners.
It's really light.
Yeah. It's light. It's thin on the inside. It's from what I understand, it's fiberglass. But if it falls,
I heard someone, I think it was John Sanchez, he drilled a hole in it and he filled it with sand or something to make it heavier.
Why would he do that?
I don't know, but apparently he did.
Oh my God. I like to leave things as the manufacturer intended, thank you. But to John Sanchez, you have balls. But yeah, this is the exclusive version of the Rhino comiquette. The exclusive version, to me, in my own opinion, is the only version of this. They have the other sculpt with the ears, and the sculpt is fantastic of that piece. But this is from the original appearance of the Rhino from the '60s in Spider-Man number 41, and that's that wide face, the no ears. That's the way that the original comic book, which is what the face sculpt was taken after. So when I saw this, I'm like, if I don't get the exclusive, I'm not getting this piece at all, period. But I managed to land myself a piece through actually Sideshow Collectibles. There was a flaw in the mold actually with the first run of these. There was a small, you can't see it on mine, but there's a flaw in the mold that had problems with like a hairline crack along his back. So you have to be careful for that if you do get that. Over here is a random picture of some hot chick known as Miss Marvel, right? Yeah. They're making a movie with her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think they missed the mark on the actress that they picked for that.
Yeah.
That's my only opinion.
Do you want to grab those few there quickly?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
It's a good thing somebody's paying attention.
I won't let you miss them.
Over here we
I'm
have.
not going to forget the Agent 47 after the conversation we had earlier. But
Oh, absolutely.
Let's not go into that.
There is.
Not on camera.
This is Sideshow's Agent 47 premium format statue with him holding his traditional ballers in his gun. The exclusive has 2 knives in his hand, which is cool, but to me it just didn't say Agent 47. Agent 47, you need those 2 baller guns. You need those are his signature weapons. And then next to them I have another romantic duo over here. We have Madam Hydra and next to the original Red Skull premium format. As far as premium formats of the Red Skull, this one is the king. This is the premium format statue to get.
Yeah.
I mean, the costume quality and fit and finish of it is second to none. I do not have the Captain America premium format statue original.
Shit.
Thank you. It looks like his hand's got rheumatoid arthritis.
He looks like a little midget that's been made bigger. Just the proportions are out. For mixed media, the probably best three off the top of my head are probably Red Skull.
This is definitely up there.
Cobra Commander and the Joker.
The Joker's good, yeah.
They're probably my favorite three.
I wish I need to see the Cobra Commander in person. I'm sure I would probably love it because of the way his costume flows on him.
It's really nice.
Yeah, probably, and it's underestimated too. It's another one of the underappreciated
Very
pieces.
Very you could pick out probably quite cheap.
Which is good for us because
Yeah.
if you like that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize. It's just like, go ahead, let it not be popular because that means I could enjoy it for a much cheaper price. Thank you.
Of course.
So that's displayed there. Now over here, and then I think it's pretty much it. This is the last section of the collection room. We have the original Thing premium format statue. This is the exclusive with the switch out head with the teeth. The other one just has his mouth closed. Just kind of shows him a little bit more angry. A lot of people, again, this is another underappreciated piece. I know Alex is passionately love for him, but
I just dislike the character, but
it's okay.
I can appreciate that. It's a very nice statue, and
the sculpt work is fantastic.
It kind of came out to marry up with the original Hulk that they released, and also the Abomination.
Yes, they're all to scale.
That was the kind of trilogy.
Yeah, that's funny. I always wanted to get my hands on that Abomination. The Hulk is just. I'd rather either put my kid through college or get that statue. I'd rather just put my kid through college or buy a new car. But yeah, that premium format Hulk's cool.
You went with the car, so your kid's not going to college.
Right. Exactly. Or he's just going to have to get out loans like the rest of us.
The Abomination box will not fit in any of your storage areas.
Yeah, no, I could envision it. Because if this box is obnoxious, and actually the box for this isn't even here. Yeah. My friend's got a big attic.
The one for Abomination, like I've heard stories of people turning up in my car and literally having to throw away the box on the spot.
Because the box is an abomination.
Yeah.
So, but this is also another very underappreciated piece. I definitely want to get my hands on that Abomination. That Abomination is a great piece. He's just another big character. And back when Sideshow actually gave a shit about sizes and proper scale, which is nice. Over here is the first Hulk Comiquette. This is the first version, the green version. And then they came out with the red version, and then they came out with the gray version. Surprised they didn't keep painting them different colors. This is when Sideshow just basically took the same shit and repainted it. Good job.
Still do.
Yes, they still do. Only this one has the crew cut that makes no sense.
Yeah, I hate that haircut.
Yeah, because you see, this is what makes over here. If you look up, this is the original appearance of the Hulk, and the Hulk had a lot more hair. I don't know who did his hair. Maybe it was Kim Jong-un's, personal barber. I don't know. But yeah, the hair is pretty much the only part about this that I do hate on this piece. Everything else about this piece is...
There's people who have taken the greys and the reds and painted them green.
Yeah. Because the red painted green makes sense, because the hair is all like botched up. And lastly, over here, we have another commemoration of my favorite duo, the Captain America versus Red Skull diorama. This is the regular version, the exclusive version, and him switching out that Luger in his hand with the Cosmic Cube. As surprise, surprise, what the exclusive would be, I think, in pretty much every single Red Skull statue. Below that, we have a nice collage of the half-scale bust. Should I open up the door? Or?
That's cool from this angle.
You have the Kotobukiya 1/6 scale statue, which I got from Victor. God rest his soul. Again, once I got something from my two close buddies, they pretty much stay into the collection unless there's like a huge earthquake or fire. But this piece next to the half-scale bust, Captain America, I really think brings out both pieces. It creates that. Remember those 80s collages that people used to take photos with? Like the baby picture when you were a kid and then like a bigger picture of you behind it? Yeah. They did that in the 80s. And cheesy. It was cheesy, but I think that the idea here when you put the characters, so you can see like, This is him, and you see like a close-up of his face. And I just like that togetherness, which I also have displayed over here with the Red Skull. So over here with the Bowen Red Skull, the Hot Toys Red Skull, and the bust, I love the collage, the way it all comes together. You have over here the tactician of the Red Skull plotting his next move while he's staring at the Cosmic Cube, what to do next. His gun is kind of hidden behind his back in this particular pose that I have displayed. Over here you have the Bowen Red Skull, where he's kind of more like smiling and like ready for action, ready to engage in the battle, and ready to engage in what he was plotting and to follow through on his diabolical plans. And over here, he kind of looks, in this bust, he kind of looks like he's disgusted or disappointed, which I really like about this piece, because he's kind of looking over to the side at somebody like he's still alive, that type of look. So I just like the way all three of them kind of go together. This is the exclusive version of the bust, which gives you, again, our very famous redundant nameplate that we know so well. So, and then lastly, the last piece I have is another underappreciated piece, a piece you could buy for a song on the internet, is the James Bucky Barnes version of Captain America. A lot of people knock this piece for whatever reason. The integrity of the piece is great, the detail of the piece is great, the metallic paint that they used, along with the leather costume, the base of it with the kind of on the edge of an eagle, I don't know if you could see that. The base, it just has that eagle, like he's like on top, and somebody's obviously attacking him from above, maybe from a helicopter or from another angle, but this piece is another underappreciated piece. So thank you for not appreciating great art, because then makes my life a hell of a lot easier. So, but that's going to conclude today's Statue Room review. It's a long time that I haven't done one of those, so thank you, Alex, thank you, Raddtitan, for allotting me this time, and so I could show everybody my personal collection.
Well, it's an hour of my life I'm not going to get back.
I will make up for it.
And then I've got to edit it, and I'm joking.
No, I know. I owe you a steak dinner. But again, thank you very much for watching. Please give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.
And check out LongShot1982.
My channel, yes. If Raddtitan's great channel, but if you'd like, you also check out my channel, TheLongShot1982 with no spaces. I have a lot more statue reviews on there as well if you're interested. So thank you.